Okay people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. My makeshift review table here. Tonight I'm going to attempt to take a look at the First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter from Hasbro's Star Wars The Black Series. This is 6-inch scale and this box is huge. I walked into Toys R Us this morning looking for the exclusive Snowtrooper and I ran into this. No Snowtrooper, but I just had to have it. I had a 15% off coupon and I figured what the hell, I might as well grab it. Now, online pictures do not give a proper sense of scale to this thing. This box is massive. When I saw it in the store, I couldn't believe how big it was. It measures about 25.5 inches across. It's about 20.5 inches tall, and it is a foot deep. Even though I was at Comic-Con and I saw this in the display case, that huge display they had in the Hasbro booth, it still caught me off guard when I saw this in the store. The side of the box has a nice kind of picture of the TIE Fighter pilot. The back of the box you have just pictures of the TIE Fighter itself. The pilot sitting in there with the back seat, the back window. This right here was one of the promotional pictures, and you can tell how deceiving it is. Scale wise, this is the 6-inch pilot. It's not going to fit in there. This is scaled down. And then on the other end of the box you have a huge 01. Does that mean we're going to get more 1/12 scale vehicles? I don't know. It'd be cool. It'd be nice. Get some maybe classic style vehicles. But yeah, let's get this open and see what's going on. Okay, here it is out of the package before I assemble it. Even though the box is massive and you expect this thing to be huge, it's bigger than I imagined. And like I said, I was at Comic-Con. I saw this in person, but holding it in your hand, I mean, this is essentially a shield. It's just massive, huge. And I know there was some problems with the 3 3/4 inch scale TIE Fighter here with rubbery wings. That is not a problem here. These are nice and stiff. There's no give to them. Well, it's plastic. There's a slight give, but these are not going to warp. They're going to stay flat. It's kind of crazy. The cockpit for this thing, you can already, well, I can. I don't know if you can see that, but all the controls inside are already painted. There's 2 seats. It just comes like this. Just big. Canopy and the undergun. We get the 6-inch TIE Fighter pilot. And then instructions, which essentially say put on the wings, or the whatever wings, I'm going to call them wings. Put on the undergun, put on the canopy, and some kind of antenna right there. So, pretty simple. I don't know how close I'll be able to get to the camera. Once I get it together with those huge wings, you won't be able to see on the sides. So, I mean, this red stripe on the side, it's got some airbrushing here. And it's not bad. It's where it's, blaster marks. There's a big number right there. That's in the way. You can see the back window. And inside you can see the controls, kinda. Well, I don't know if you can. But there is color to all the little buttons inside. I'll try to get pictures up of that. There's some kind of targeting computers. And up in the top, I don't know what all this is. It's some kind of weird design. It's like just random red and yellow markings. You have the undergun. It just plugs in the bottom. And then this sticks on top. Is that on a swivel? It acts like it's on a swivel. There's a screw through it, and it acts like it wants to rotate down, but it actually doesn't. Or at least I can't get it to. Or I don't want to snap it in half. How's that? But it goes here. It rotates around. That's kind of odd for it to not rotate down. And we'll put the gun on bottom. And that rotates around. You have your 2 main cannons. You have your rotating cannon. Or I do believe that goes to the back, so there's actually a use for the guy in the back window to have a gun to shoot. The canopy is just 2 pegs that go into there, and it snaps closed. It still sticks up a little bit, but it looks like the seam is even all the way around, so you just grab it and it opens up. And the wings just snap on. Not a huge deal. Close that. And like I said, this thing, oh, there's some weight to it. I mean, you're not going to work out with it, but yeah, it's kind of heavy and solid. There's a little back and forth here, but that's only because, you know, these outer pieces are separate pieces. They do snap in securely, and I have no clue what I'm going to do with this thing. But you can see that the details of the here. I mean, there's all kinds of little kibble and gears and fans and motors and rotors, and there's a texture to here. And that's on both sides. Now the pictures on the box actually show, you know, some black. This is fairly clean, both sides here on the outside foils. So if you want to dirty it up, I guess you could. There is some silver paint here on these bars right here. And it's kind of random. Man, I'm gonna hurt my back lugging this thing around. Okay, actually getting the trooper into the seat is like reaching into a fish bowl. It's a bit difficult to get him in there. His legs don't want to go all the way down, and he's not going to hold both handles. There's a handle on this side and a handle over here, and hopefully I'll have clearer pictures that'll show it better than this video. But you just got to kind of wedge them down in there and try to get them into this. There's some waist clips that are kind of a stiff material, kind of hard to get them in there. But one thing I did find out that was a little bit easier was to pull this backrest piece, and you can get a little more, you know, room in there for your hand, for the figure, and try to get it in there. Trying to get 2 in there may be a little bit difficult. I'll have to wait until I get another trooper, which I think is coming in another series in the near future. But yeah, you got to kind of get them out. So it's not a perfect sitting position. This side has this pouch right here that is in the way. And then he has these straps going down and attaching to his knees. And I'll get into the full figure here in a minute. With the pouches too, that clip, see, I've got his legs all jacked up trying to get him in there. With his knees like that, or the pouches on the side, they want to get caught on the belt clip. Or, well, the seat belt, I guess you could call it. Again, I don't know how much you can see this fishbowl thing. This comes out, and there's these 2 sidebars that pop up, but it doesn't do anything. I tried fiddling around with it to maybe make the seat come out. I thought maybe these bars popped up and you could pull the seat out, put the figure in, and then pop the seat back in, but it doesn't work that way. I even took these 2 screws out between the seats, and it's only the clips that come out, not the whole seat itself, which would be cool. I mean, put the clips on and then slide it down in there, but you'd have to remove those screws, and that doesn't really work. So the sidebars just kind of pop up and out, and then they just go down. They're just their own little separate pieces that don't really do anything that I know of, unless there's some kind of secret thing. And then that goes in, and yeah, the figure is kind of hard to get into the TIE Fighter. And the only thing I've been able to come up with is to bend his knees all the way back and around, where you're essentially shoving them down like this. And then you can get low enough to get on that clip. And it still takes a little bit of rummaging around. He does finally get low enough. And that's putting him in the back seat there. And even with the legs like that, you can't hardly tell. It's not like you're going to be looking down inside of it. You're going to have this closed, and then you're going to turn this massive thing around. And you can see him sitting down in there. Then you have to put the back of the seat back in there. And it just pops back down. And you're in there. Now, back to the regular review spot. Comfortable. As far as the TIE Fighter pilot goes, it's a nice sculpt. It reminds me of the old TIE Fighter pilot. That's not a bad thing, just with, the new aesthetic. It's got the wrinkled under uniform, it's got the, armor pieces, the helmet. I like the blood stripes, or red stripes, or whatever you want to call them, on the front of the helmet. It kind of, it sticks out a little bit, because the helmet itself, details are lost in it. I don't know if it's because it's the gloss black or it's just not cut in very deep. But you can see the eyes. They're a different black than the rest of the helmet. It's kind of a smoky gray color. But it's almost like the First Order Stormtrooper helmet, except it's got some extra lines. But it's lost. It's kind of just fades into the background of the figure. It does have a flight helmet look to it. It has some kind of piece up here. I'm going to guess this comes down over the face, this piece up on top, like a visor or something, because it looks like it's on a hinge, and it's just odd to have it up there. It's got a nose cut out for it to come down to, not actually the nose, but the mouthpiece here. Then he has a rubber hose that goes down to his chest piece, again, like the classic TIE Fighter pilot, and it doesn't really hinder the head a lot. He still gets range of movement. He can't go to the right as far as you'd like him to, but the left, he can look over his shoulder. And then the legs have these strap pieces on them. They attach to the belt and then into the knee, but it doesn't hinder him going up. And it's above the knee, so it doesn't affect the knee at all either. And it's a rubbery material. Now, articulation, he's got the head, he's got some side to side. There's a hinge under there with a ball on top. Then he can look down as far as his helmet allows him to. There's up. Pretty good up. Shoulders are hinge and swivel, but he's got these shoulder pads on, and you would think they would hit the torso, so he couldn't get his arms up very far, but they kind of go into the torso, right about there. That's surprising. But it doesn't look like they would go into the torso, but there's I wouldn't call it a ball, but there's some up and down movement of the peg that sticks out into the shoulder. So you can shift down a little bit to make that armor piece disappear into the torso. Left arm can get even higher because there's more. It's like a ball joint there. Whoa, that's nifty. There's a shift up and down. I don't know if that's on purpose, but I'm going to say it is because, I don't know. The right arm doesn't do it as much. But the left, look at that. Shifts down, armor in, arm out. I like that. Of course, it may be broken, who knows, but I kind of like it broken. The elbow is hinge and swivel. It goes to about right there. Not quite 90 because of the wrist guard here. And the wrist guard's sculpted. It has these things on the inside. I don't know what this is, but the outside's smooth for the most part. The wrists are hinge and swivel. You can hinge in and out and then swivel around. The torso, there's a mid-torso joint. You can get some side to side a little bit, back, forward. Not a lot of movement, but you get a twist there, and that acts as the waist. There's nothing below that. The belt is a separate piece, but it's in a groove, so you can't slide it up and down. The hips are hinge and swivel. You can swivel forward pretty much to sitting position. You can swivel back. It hits the butt part, goes out. Not too far outwards, though, on the hinge because of these pouches. And as soft as these straps are, the pouches have no give to them. They may spring out a little bit, but the leg stops right there. That's about it. Have a thigh swivel, but it cuts that pocket in half on the outside. I don't really like that. The knees are double hinged. You can come all the way back around. The ankles are on a hinge back really well. And forward. Actually, that's the best ankle I've seen in a long time. And then forward-facing peg for, rocker ankle. He does come with a gun, just a small little pistol. It's a new, at least it looks like a new sculpt. I don't think I've seen it before. It just goes in the hand. And there's a trigger finger that's actually kind of hidden. I didn't think it was there, but it's there. He does have a little color to him. There's some buttons here, blue, white, gray, red. But for the most part, it's black. He has, I guess that's the First Order symbol on the shoulders. There's some silver here on the mouthpiece. empty over here, hose on this side, and then the red stripes up. But that's all the color to them. The rest of them's pretty much black. The armor pieces are shiny. The cloth pieces are dull. Can't really complain about this guy. Here he is with the Black Series TIE Fighter pilot. The classic TIE Fighter pilot, his head is just huge, which it's a big bulky helmet on his head. Actual figure height size, yeah, it's about the same. Shoulders, you can tell this is a taller figure. And the First Order TIE Fighter pilot is just sleeker, I guess. He's not as awkward looking. Again, he looks like a dude wearing a flight suit with a helmet on. It's a little bit better proportioned, I guess, than the classic TIE Fighter pilot. I love the classic TIE Fighter pilot. I mean, he looked like that in the movie. And it was discussed that he's short because he's a pilot. He, smaller space. I kind of like the First Order TIE Fighter pilot a little bit better. Not design-wise. I love the old helmet. Just a better figure, I think. Now we need a TIE Fighter for this guy. Come on, Hasbro, give us a classic TIE Fighter. We already have the figure. Just give us a ship for him. All in all, I don't know if I'm wonderstruck by the size of this thing or just how solid it is. There's some nice sculpt to it. There's all kinds of little detail. I still don't know if this thing comes down or if it's supposed to shoot up or it's not even a gun. I want it to turn forward. It's a solid piece. I don't regret spending the money on it. Is it expensive? Yeah, it is. I mean, at Toys R Us it was $170. I had a 15% off coupon, so I got out of the store after tax for $160. I knock off $20 for the figure, so $140 for a ship. I can kind of understand now why companies are hesitant to give us 6-inch scaled vehicles. I mean, look at this thing. I don't even know where I'm going to put this. It's almost too heavy to hang anywhere. So I'm going to have an upper shelf or some floor space. I have no clue. Really, it's not bad. I like it. It's neat to have. But I feel that the TIE Fighter, at least its design, is the easiest to do in 6-inch scale. Yeah, we could probably get a land speeder. We could probably get, I'd like to see a snow speeder. But an X-Wing, even though it breaks down into pieces, you could take the wings off, fit it into a smaller box. The X-Wing is about as big as it's going to get, and I even doubt seeing an X-Wing. There's no way in hell we're getting a Millennium Falcon. Although they could expand on this design, Give us a classic TIE Fighter. That'd be cool. A TIE Interceptor, a TIE Bomber, Vader's TIE. They could go all out on this basic design, just different wing configurations, Maybe some tweaks on bottom. This doesn't really work as a classic TIE Fighter. You have these, the red stripe here, you have the extra guns, the antenna, most of all the two-seater's cockpit. It's actually a classic TIE would be smaller than this, so I could see them justifying the price if this does well. And then finally, the big spacely sprockets here. That's part of the new design. The old one was more of a cone shape, But like I said, if you're hesitant because you're afraid of quality, it's a quality piece. It's going to hold up. If you're afraid of it because of price, this is a huge piece. Is it worth the money? It depends on how much you want a new TIE Fighter, or a 6-inch scaled vehicle. I'm okay with it. I'm good. I've enjoyed taking this to my kids and, showing them. This is bigger than my son's head. That was interesting. But yeah, I'm happy. Your mileage may vary, and I can't speak for you, but I'm ecstatic. So, if you like the review, comment, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the Fwoosh. Woo-hoo!